Hello and welcome to this very quick video just introducing the Weebill S. Now, for most modern filmmakers out there and most YouTubers these days, using a gimbal is quite a good experience. It really adds a lot of production value to your videos, and that's why for a long time now I've been using the Zhiyun Weebill, the original version. And I've always been really impressed with it, but there was always one major flaw from my point of view, and that's that I couldn't fit the Canon EOS-R on it, which is a real shame, to be honest, because when I'm doing professional work I want to use a gimbal and I want to use a decent camera, so the EOS-R, and it just wouldn't work with it. You have to take the eyepiece off, mess around with counterweights. It just isn't practical. Works absolutely fine with smaller cameras like the Canon M50 that I'm shooting on and the little Sony that I've got, but just not with a slightly larger camera. So I was always slightly disappointed with it and was hoping that they'd bring out another iteration in the future, and in the last few days Zhiyun have done exactly that, and this is what you see behind me, which is the Weebill S. Now, I've got all sorts of bits hanging off this. I've spec'd it out in the way that I want to be using it. So it's got two additional handles, I've got the Atomos Ninja 5 on the back, and apart from needing a slightly longer HDMI cable, it's pretty much exactly where it'll be when I'm using it professionally. And for those sharp-eyed amongst you, you'll spot that it's got the EOS-R on it. Now, if I just remove the HDMI cable there, you'll see that even with the eyepiece, there is plenty of clearance there for the camera. It isn't touching the motors, it isn't catching on anything at all. It's absolutely fine. So that's been a real huge bonus, and that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to pick up this gimbal virtually as soon as it came out. And I will add at this point as well, this is all paid for with my own money. I've got no affiliation with Zhiyun, and part of the reason that I've actually been out and bought this is because this one is now on eBay and will go towards funding this, as well as a few other pieces of camera kit as well. So and while we're talking about that, I'll just quickly mention the price. I paid £370 for this, which, to be honest, I think represents really good value. I can't remember the original price of the Weebill. I think it was getting on for £450 or maybe even £500, but £370 for this gimbal is actually a really good price. And part of the justification for that is that one of the things that Zhiyun have done is they've actually upgraded the motors on the axes of the gimbal. And I can tell you now, the first time I turned it on, you can really tell the difference. So I'm just going to pop that HDMI cable back in and boot it up now, just so you can see for yourselves that it does actually hold the weight of the EOS-R. So with any of the Weebill Labs, you just hold it down for a few seconds and there you go, it's on. So picking it up and moving it around, you can see that it's definitely can take the weight of the EOS-R. No real issues with that. Like I say, could do with the longer HDMI cable, so that's going to cause it a few issues while I'm using the Ninja 5, but it certainly moves around, certainly takes the weight. Now, from the first time that I picked it up, I really could tell that the motors were definitely stronger. I believe that they're 300% stronger than the previous motors in the original Weebill, and you can definitely tell that there's a difference there as well. You can certainly tell that these are a better quality of motor. But there's a few other additions, like being able to control the camera from the actual Weebill. You can change ISO, shutter speed, and aperture, so you don't need to actually go into the app. So if you're planning on using an external monitor, like I am there, that's really useful. So I can actually record to this monitor. I don't have to have a phone plugged in to make any adjustments or anything like that as well. So I'm really happy with this setup. I'm really looking forward to using it. I have been using it for a few hours. I've played around with it, been for a little bit of a run and done a few tests. And all I can say is my first impressions are very good. I certainly think it's a very capable gimbal. I still really like the form factor, and with a few minor accessories, it really makes it feel like a professional piece of kit that's very capable of doing a good job. Now, I haven't tried the Ronin SC and other gimbals like that, so I really can't draw any comparisons with different gimbals, but it is definitely an upgrade from the previous iteration, from the first version of the Weebill. And as you'll see over the next coming weeks and things. There'll be plenty of reviews that go out there. And if you want to leave a like below and leave a comment, and I'll be more than happy to do a more in-depth run round with a gimbal so you can actually see some footage and stuff. This was more just intended as a first impressions video, just to let you know what my thoughts and feelings were on it straight out of the box. And like I say, absolutely first impressions are, it feels rock solid. Absolutely no issues, and the biggest bonus is it's definitely capable of taking a larger payload than the original version, and it really steps it up to that more kind of mid-range gimbal that I think a lot of amateurs and certainly some professionals will be able to make great use of. So if you want to see some more about this, if you want to see some test footage and learn a little bit more about it, leave a like or a comment below, and don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll be happy to put together a longer video with a little bit more demonstration. But first impressions, absolutely great, and really can't wait to use it. So thank you for watching. Do hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in another video.